Good evening. It is Wednesday, September 7th, 2022, and coming to you from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Slam Sports Show. Letting that run a bit longer.
Might as well.
That's my plan, anyways. Let me turn it down and play it in the background.
Is that way so people can hear it?
But you really can't. There's no difference. It goes so long at the beginning with the same.
Yeah.
It takes you.
You don't even need to let it run a long time.
It takes you to get to this point.
So
That's better, actually. And I like that part. Anyway, so I'm your host, David Lamb. With me, as always, is my son Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Okay.
Oh.
I don't know.
No applause?
It might be a long show. That's all I'm saying. We had some technical difficulties prior to coming on the air, and we may still have them.
Hey, I'm back.
we may still have those. I don't know. We're gonna find out. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show, and you can send us an email to lambsports@gmail.com. Please check out the webpage. You can find links to the past shows and the current trivia question on www.lambsports.com. NFL football starts tomorrow. Bills Rams Thursday night. Woo! Pretty excited about the return of NFL football. College football week 1 is in the books, and week 0 for that matter. I don't understand that one. You're gonna have to explain that to me. And a new AP poll is out. We'll talk about those. WNBA has one team in set for the finals, and another one is playing a deciding game 5. Another 2 teams playing a deciding game 5 tomorrow night. Portland Timbers still fighting for the playoff position. We're going to talk about all that, Formula One, and whatever else we find time to talk about. The first segment of the show is brought to you by The Range in Yakima. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination. If you haven't checked them out, go to therangellc.com. You can find all of the training, membership, and VIP information and opportunities. Check out their calendar under the Events tab, and you can find the complete schedule of classes and activities for the month. You can enroll for most of the events and training online with a few simple clicks. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. Phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamb Sports Show. That's The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So let's talk about NFL Week 1.
Right on.
Or should we do the trivia question before we get into this stuff?
Do the trivia question.
Let's do the trivia question. Let's go back here. Okay, so trivia question. Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Stave & Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. U.S. Open is currently in progress, right? The U.S. Open tennis tournament?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, and we're not even really going to talk about it today.
Yes, it is.
We aren't even really going to talk about it today, but the trivia question is from the U.S. Open since that's going on right now. We want to know who was the last American to win the U.S. Open men's singles title.
Got it.
And it's been a day since that's happened. So there you go.
I'm gonna put it in our chat, and you'll know.
Okay, and then I'll know the answer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
I
you almost
that's
there?
it. I'm spelling it wrong.
Okay. All right. So NFL Week 1 starts tomorrow. Bills Rams tomorrow night in what could be a Super Bowl preview.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we both said that it's a possibility.
We both agreed that the Bills were going to be there.
Right, and the Rams may or may not be there.
But the Rams were the question mark. It depends on how much the league wants to skim it for Tom Brady.
If he's going to retire, though, he has to commit to retiring. Am I wrong?
But he's not retiring this year. Like, he's going to play this year. And so the question is, does the league want to like sell him winning another title?
What I'm saying is the only reason they would do that is if he's going to retire at the end of the season. If he is going to play next year, there's no point in letting him win this year.
Yeah, but all he's got to do is say he's going to retire. That's all that matters.
It's a dumb situation.
You don't actually have to do it.
I'm just going to take a break for a couple weeks because my marriage is having issues. Anyway, and I'll be back, and you guys won't miss me. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him and Giselle. I mean, whatever. But
I do not know what's going on with them.
That's what they said, right? That was the reason. That's what's coming out as the reports. He hasn't said it, but that's what the reports are, is that he's having some issues.
Well, it's because he won't stop playing football.
Well, and right? He said he was gonna, and then he didn't, and now I think she's mad at him because
she was like, "Great, now you have time to paint the house." And he's like, "Actually, I'm gonna play football again.
Paint the house.
Just like, then when's my house getting painted?
Can you picture Tom Brady out there with the pewter paint, painting the house? Tampa Bay pewter.
Yes, I can.
I cannot.
Asking the neighbor for a bigger ladder.
Yeah, I mean,
something like that.
Hey man, you got one of them edger things, man? Can I borrow one of those?
I really like this idea for a
painting?
series of commercials where Tom Brady's bumming things off of people.
I don't know. I feel like Baker Mayfield's commercials were pretty good like that, at his house. And I find it funny that they didn't do a moving one, right? Where he moved from that stadium to the next stadium. You know what I'm talking about? Anyway, what do I know? So, still there? I may have lost my connection, which has been happening all night. Not quite sure what's going on. We don't know what's happening with our internet connection, but it may or may not be, a thing. So
it's definitely a thing.
It's definitely a thing, and it went away. Is that what happened?
Yeah. So like I'll be talking, and then I'll hear like normally there's static from your end.
Yeah.
Like kind of like background noise, and it just goes silent. Gosh. And then about 5 seconds later, it'll tell me reconnecting. So I'll be talking for like another 3 seconds unless I hear it and notice it. Yeah.
Reset everything. I have no idea what to do. So we'll just kind of have to struggle through this. Anyway, so I was just saying that the commercials for Baker Mayfield, where he's at home, Baker Mayfield at home.
Yes.
They should have done
Tom Brady style.
They should have done one where he moved.
They should have done one with all the quarterbacks. Every quarterback should have had a Russell Wilson at home, Tom Brady at home.
Would have been cool. Different things happen. Anyway.
Specific problems to their areas.
Right.
Like Tom Brady's dealing with something Boston-y, I don't know, tea or something.
Florida-y. There's gators in somewhere.
Well, yeah, there's a gator on the field or something.
Yeah. What do you mean, like spiders on the field, Coach? Anyway, also week 1, Cleveland Browns at Carolina Panthers in the Baker Mayfield Bowl. Raiders at Chargers. Highlight. Critical AFC West matchup. Every AFC West matchup is going to be critical.
Yeah.
Those games are on Sunday, and then of course Monday night's Broncos Seahawks in the Danger Russ Bowl.
Let's go, Russ.
I mean, they NFL's got a sense of humor in the way they do scheduling.
Nope.
So, nope. Back off. Oh my goodness. Do not know what to do. It happens so quickly. So the recordings are going to be in and out. It's going to be terrible. Okay.
All right, we're back.
I don't even know what to do with this.
Last about 30 seconds. Are you hardwired in?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, technically the router is.
You're hardwired into an extender.
Correct, to an extender.
There you go. Okay.
Yes. So the extender has to be losing connection somehow, but it never goes red. There's a little light on it that would go red if it's lost a connection. It doesn't do that.
Right.
And my app, which shows me if it's lost a connection, has never shown that it's lost a connection. So
yeah.
I don't know how to see that it's happening if it doesn't tell me. So anyway.
Very strange.
Should we keep going?
We could try, yeah. I mean, it's just going to keep dropping every 2 minutes, but yeah.
Okay. So here's a complete week 1 schedule for the NFL in case anybody wants, including game times and TV things. Also, kind of looking forward to a Miami-New England game. Pittsburgh-Cincinnati. Those games look good to you?
They all look good to me, yeah. I can't see your screen. You haven't shared it back with me.
I haven't
but
shared
also,
it.
Well, but also, if we're having an internet being stretched, then I don't know if it's the best idea.
Well, it's true, too. Maybe.
But no, the game that matters to me, there's 2 games that matter, and it's the Bills, Rams, and the Browns, Panthers are the 2 games I'm excited to watch. Everything else looks, so there's a lot of really good games, but those are the 2 that I'm like keyed in on.
Yeah.
Other than the Broncos, of course.
Right. Yeah, Broncos, whatever. Broncos, Seahawks. That may be an egg. That game might be terrible.
It might. Hopefully.
Because I don't think Seattle's
it's boring for everyone.
Yeah. All right, so let's move along. So Formula One was at Zandvoort in the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix this past Sunday, and we are not surprised at the winner, Max Verstappen, but maybe the way he won, we're surprised about?
That's fair.
Okay, Verstappen was the beneficiary of a late virtual safety car thanks to Yuki Tsunoda, and a physical safety car thanks to Valtteri Bottas, and he used the first one to cut his pit time in half. And the second one to overtake Lewis Hamilton after the safety car restart.
Right.
Yeah, lots of things in this one. Verstappen was clearly the fastest car on the track. Am I wrong?
Every week.
Yep.
That's nothing new.
Yeah. Pit stop strategies and timing were the difference in this. Tire selection, too.
Right.
And it has been for the most part of the season. Lewis Hamilton had a chance to win, maybe. Probably.
Maybe. Yeah.
We could say probably.
Probably is the way that all the simulations say. Probably, barring incident, injury, or event.
George Russell disobeyed orders from Mercedes, probably.
Definitely.
That's a definitely? Okay.
Definitely. He was saying we should pit, and they were saying, no, that's not the strategy. And then he started to pit, and they're like, okay, fine, pit.
And so maybe George Russell screwed Lewis Hamilton a little bit.
There's some talks of that, but
and then Carlos Sainz was screwed by his pit crew. Definitely.
Right.
In a couple of different ways. I mean, whoever's in charge of telling you to go out of the pit and let him go right into another car.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming there's a guy who says go. I don't know that's true.
There's a guy who's standing in front of the car who's looking behind you.
Yeah.
Like down the track, and he's supposed to release you.
Yeah.
And he just made a mistake.
And it cost a 5-second penalty for sure in a couple of places.
Yeah.
But more than that, they forgot a tire. They literally comes in for a pit, and the pit crew forgot his left rear tire, 3 tires, and it cost them a lot of time.
Amateur hour at Ferrari.
It looked bad, and then they left their gun, their impact wrench was laying in the way, and so when who was it? Sergio Perez takes off from the pit.
He ran over it.
And I'm surprised they didn't get penalized for that. At least I haven't seen them as a team get penalized for that. But if you notice that those pits are tight.
Ferrari has the yips, man.
Yeah, they're the yips. That's the best way to describe it.
Because it's not like I watched the video of the guy dropping the impact wrench, and normally you kind of drop it flat at your side, and instead he's pulling his hand back before he drops it, and it kind of flings out of his hand a little bit and slides. And it's not supposed to slide; it's just supposed to fall right there, so that you can grab it again. It slid just a little too far, and it's just like, man, you're just pulling your kicks just a little bit. You know, you guys are making just little mistakes that are costing you.
Yeah, it was a comedy of errors, or it has been so far for
all
Ferrari.
Season. And if it's not an error with the pit crew or the strategy, then the car's blowing up.
Yeah, the car's blowing up.
They can't catch a break. I say this, they are the best car, I think. I mean, Red Bull's car looks mean, but discounting everything, if everything would have gone the way it was all supposed to go in terms of like cars not blowing up and pit strategies not being garbage, Ferrari would be in the lead by a good 50 points right now.
Yeah,
they would have come in 1-2 a bunch of times this season.
Yeah, and Leclerc has more poles than anybody else.
Yeah, and so if everything would have worked the way it was supposed to, they should be not way out in front. 50 points it's 2 races out in front, but yeah, out in front quite a bit going into the back 10 races of the season. So they had the best car to start the season. They just haven't. They suck. They just suck, man.
So at this
bad
point,
coaching, I guess. Get rid of Benito or whatever his name is. Egon, as you call him.
Yeah. So Egon, yeah, he looks just like Egon.
Kinda,
yeah. Mattia Binotto.
Mattia Binotto.
Yeah. So Verstappen leads the overall standings by 109 points over second place, which is now tie between Leclerc and Sergio Perez.
Nice.
Yeah, so Red Bull has a chance to finish 1-2.
I think they will, yeah.
Formula One is in Italy for the Italian Grand Prix in Monza this weekend, qualifying Saturday at 6:55 a.m. That's going to be on ESPN News if you want to watch it. And the race is Sunday, 5:55 a.m. Pacific. These are all Pacific times on ESPN2.
The race is at 5:55?
Yeah, well, 6 a.m. That's right, in Italy.
I have to get up early.
If you just lived on the East Coast still, it'd be 9.
I am telling you.
Right?
I think about this all the time. When Cassie and I are talking about where we're going to move in the future, I'm like, I don't care. As long as I don't have to wake up before noon for football and before 9 for races, we're going to be golden.
I am telling you, Central Time is the golden zone.
The golden zone. You're never too late. You're never too early.
Not the East Coast, East Coast. The Central Time is the golden zone. If you can live in the Central Time zone, and I think that's what Knoxville is, right?
Knoxville is Eastern.
Is it Eastern?
Knoxville's Eastern. Yeah, Nashville and Clarksville are Central.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, but see,
central
then if you want to live in the central time zone, you have to live in places like Clarksville or Ohio or Missouri or
Chicago,
Iowa or Chicago. I mean, I would love to live in Chicago, but also you
Dallas,
got to live in Chicago.
Houston,
Yeah,
Nowlands.
there are some not great places to live.
Yeah, no, Arkansas. Anyway,
Arkansas. Hey, I did love Fayetteville. It was a gorgeous city.
yeah, but you
It's
you
like
only hit the good
it's a true
spots.
college town. It's a true
It
college
is. It
town.
truly is. It's.
And
You're right.
I've said before that I don't think any place has true college towns like the college towns in the South. Lexington, Knoxville,
Yeah.
Fayetteville. Those are awesome college towns. Even Eugene is
Yeah.
a weird little city with a college in it.
The college.
Corvallis is a true college town. I give them that. That's a pretty dope little city. But the
Corvallis.
South has Corvallis has a lot to do down there. It's a
Okay.
nice little place.
I mean, I don't know. All
We
right.
have lost so many people who are like, where the hell is Corvallis?
Well, that's true. If you've never been to Corvallis, Oregon, it's about 50-something miles north of Eugene, but it's about 60 miles south of Portland.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
no, it's more than it's about 60. That's about right.
Takes about an hour and 10 minutes to get
60,
into
70 miles
Corvallis.
south
Yeah.
of Portland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just off the road. You can't see it from the freeway, but there's a sign that points that way.
It doesn't take long to get there, and you got to drive
No.
by the Beavers golf course.
Yeah.
Like their team golf course is on the way. Like there's pretty much a golf course between the interstate and their school.
Yeah. It's a small place, but
it's a cool little college city. Good
Yeah.
food.
There you go.
Lots of cool stuff to do.
most college towns have that pubs. They got a lot of pubs, and they got a lot of.
A lot of pubs, a lot of
Yeah, it's
bars. Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's move.
Moving along.
We're moving along. So in what was Sue Bird's final game of a storied WNBA career, the Las Vegas Aces punched their ticket to the WNBA Finals with a 97-92 win over Seattle Storm last night. The Aces closed out the best-of-5 series 3-1. They await the winner of tomorrow night's Game 5 between the Connecticut Sun and the Chicago Sky. Sue Bird's been playing for a long time and fantastic, I think, role model in the WNBA for women just in general. But yeah, just an overall good person. So anyway, congratulations to Sue Bird on her ending her career. It's sad that Seattle couldn't go a little further, but the Aces are pretty good. Right?
They've been pretty good for a hot minute. Yep.
Yeah, so they're back. I think back to the WNBA finals is the right thing to say.
Yes, their third WNBA finals in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, pretty dominant team.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Timbers real quick. Portland Timbers currently tied with Real Salt Lake for 6th in the Western Conference of MLS. 42 points on the season. Portland's 2-1 win over Atlanta United on Sunday combined with RSL's, and I don't know why there's no pictures moving on this slideshow. What's going on? It's just one of those days, right?
Yeah.
It's not even moving, and it's set to do it, but it's not doing it. So I don't know. We can move it along. There we go. So where was I? Yeah. Portland's 2-1 win over Atlanta United on Sunday, combined with Real Salt Lake's 2-0 loss to LAFC, puts the Timbers in a good position heading into the final 4 games of the regular season. In Sunday's win, Santiago Moreno and Darren Asprilla both scored on penalty kicks, and the Timbers' defense survived repeated late attacks by Atlanta. Portland's last 4 games are all against teams that will probably make the playoffs, to include Real Salt Lake, who's right ahead of them, or they're tied with, and on the final day of the season. That's a last day of the season thing. Timbers' next game is Saturday at the Minnesota United, currently just 2 points ahead of Portland. So the Timbers are peaking at the right time to get there. We'll see what happens, but we'll keep you up to date on Portland Timbers. And this first half of the show went by fast.
Hey, we were talking about how long the back half could take, so
It's true, so probably a good thing. I mean, it's not really half a show, then I guess it's a quarter or a third of a show, but that's okay.
right.
Second half of the show is, and that's not correct. Don't look at that. Second half of the show is brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune in to BossKittyLive.com. Knit-alongs, games, fun, and exclusive sales. Go on the BossKittyShop.com. That's this website right here that you're looking at. Get your kitty glitter yarns, soft, sparkly, out of this world. Looking for a gift? Get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card. Let them pick it out themselves. That's Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. Second half of the show is college football, and that's all we're going to talk about. The Oregon Ducks, they were number 11?
11.
Played at the number, it's not at, officially goes down as a neutral site game, but when you're playing the University of Georgia in Atlanta, Georgia, I feel like that's a road game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't think anybody was under any guise this wasn't a road game.
Yeah, but it'll officially go down as a neutral site game, which is dumb. But they played Saturday in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic in Atlanta, and it was a relatively dismal game for Oregon, if you're an Oregon fan. 49-3, loss to what looked like a much stronger and faster Georgia team. Oregon doesn't ever really look like they're in this game right from the get-go. Maybe just not prepared to play, or I don't know, but they just didn't look right. Like they're missing pieces, maybe.
Right.
What positive takeaways can you make from a game like this where you lose bad, other than, hey, it's a good experience to play in front of a crowd like this in a game like this?
Pressure's off.
Well, that's true.
You got your loss. You guys tell your guys we're not making the. Well, maybe don't tell them you're not making the title, but the pressure of being perfect is gone.
It's gone.
So now you can acknowledge that you're not perfect, know that you still have more games to come, and try and come out the other side and do better tonight than you did today.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
Which is good because they're playing in a night game. So
that's right.
It's going to be fun. But yeah, no, they just it didn't look good. Nothing about it felt good. It didn't feel like everyone talks about it, and this is just media, right? This is just how the media talks about it. But everyone talks about like they just manhandled the Ducks. And there were certain aspects that definitely felt that way. But their drives were long. Yeah. Long drives. You can say that's manhandling, but that means that you're not just getting giant chunk plays every time.
Yeah.
The Ducks defense rushing wise, like defensively against the rushing, fine. Perfectly fine. That is an SEC offensive line and an SEC running back, and they couldn't do much with it.
Yeah, the SEC. So the leading rusher for the Bulldogs at 50 yards.
Yeah, that's a good day. That's a win against the defending national championship and probably the best team in the SEC outside of Alabama. So you're going to feel good about that. The Ducks offensive line didn't give up a sack, although they did give up a lot of pressure. Feel good about that, you know. Our running backs ran better on Georgia than any team had in the past couple of years. Feel good about that. A lot of little victories here, but it didn't equate to points on the board.
No.
And that's, at the end of the day, you got to do it.
So it was passing yards that ended up being the difference in this game. Stetson Bennett throws for 368 yards and 2 touchdowns. And as a whole, the team Georgia threw for 439 yards on the Ducks.
Yeah.
Which has never really been the Achilles heel of the Ducks prior. It's usually been a running thing or
usually we've had trouble stopping a big sustained run attack.
Yeah. But it was passing that killed
them. But we've also had games in the past where we've given up a lot of passing yards.
That's true.
We played Washington State a couple times, with the Mike Leach offense that was scoring 40 points, but we were winning those games because we were also scoring 40 points.
Right.
The biggest thing I was upset about in this game was our dud offense or offensive play calling. I saw a little bit of the play calling that I didn't love. I saw a little bit of decisions Bo Nix was making I didn't love. I saw a lot of guys dropping footballs that I didn't love. Our offense not being able to put points on the board made Georgia not have to worry about producing fast at all. They could take their time because they'll just punt the ball, they'll stop us, and then they'll get another shot at it. So they had no fear of being scored on, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah, Oregon had 1 tackle for loss to Georgia's 3. No sacks either way.
No sacks either way. That's a huge win for both teams, really. More for Oregon than Georgia, though.
And no fumbles either way.
No fumbles either way.
So just the 2 turnovers, the 2 interceptions that Bo Nix threw.
And one of them was my goodness.
That Starks interception was
laid out.
You're not going to see a better play in college football.
That guy doesn't make that play 9 times out of 10. Yeah. We saw the one time.
Yeah, that was Maliki Starks.
Malachi Starks? Yeah, something like that.
That was a laying out backwards to make an interception. It's just ridiculous. So, it was interesting. I don't know how I feel yet. Bo Nix punted one time, so there's that. I don't know. We're going to see Eastern Washington's next game up for the Ducks. At home in Eugene this Saturday. It's a 5:30 p.m. game. It's on the Pac-12 network if you want to watch it. it will be interesting to see how they bounce back. I mean, I know it's Eastern Washington, it's an FCS team, I get it, but that's a perennial FCS playoff team or national championship contender.
Yeah.
It's not just your regular run of the mill. It's not Bethune-Cookman that Miami beat up on. We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
this is a team that we were expected to lose to. We did in glorious fashion, is what it is. But we expected to lose to them. So
the Ducks helped elevate Georgia to number 2 in the country.
yeah, I feel like if you're gonna put Oregon out of the rankings, then what you're saying is Georgia just beat up on an unranked team.
That's what
how are you gonna slide them up?
I don't understand. We're gonna talk
how
about
how do they become the benefit of this, but we become it's confusing.
Yeah, you can't do both. Either
you can't do both. Either we're good and that was a good win, they move up, we move down a little, or
right.
we're bad and that doesn't help their resume much.
Right. You have to either give them credit for beating a good team, or you have to give them no credit for beating a bad team. One of the two, but it can't be both.
Yeah. But they love to do both for the SEC.
They do, and it's always been that way. Oh, and well, we'll talk about it more in a minute because we're talking about other college football games that happened over the weekend. Oregon State beat Boise 34-17. Good win for the Beavers to start. I mean, Boise State's not it's not the best team in the country, but I mean it's still a good win because Oregon State, every win's a good win, right? And and they were good last year. Oregon State was not a bad football team last year. I think they're going to be a contender. I'm not saying they're going to win the North by any stretch, but I'm also saying they're not capable of winning the North. They could do that, if they put it all together. So that'll be interesting to watch Oregon State come along. Iowa beat South Dakota State 7-3 without scoring a touchdown. 2 second half safeties won it for Iowa. The score was 3-3, and Iowa got 2 second half safeties and won 7-3.
What is it that I always say about South Dakota? Jackrabbits are at it again, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were good, and this is Iowa. This is not just any team. This is a team that is usually pretty good, and the defense is usually good. Obviously, they only give up 3 points, but
hey, their defense is fantastic. They got 2 safeties.
They scored more. Yeah. The Iowa defense scored more than the South Dakota offense.
There you go.
4-3.
That's impressive.
It is,
but the Iowa offense sucks.
But you only won 7-3, so I mean that's not like a convincing woohoo win. But all right, anyway, It was just
one
interesting.
Play breaks for the Jackrabbits, and all of a sudden you're like, oh crap, this is a game.
It was a game of note. Anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting because it's the first time since I want to say it was 2008 or something that's happened. A team scored 7 without scoring a touchdown. Maybe one of the candidates for game of the week, Appalachian State and North Carolina. North Carolina survived App State 63-61 with the teams combining for 62 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, that App State scored 40 in the fourth quarter. Some teams, and I'm looking at you, Georgia, only scored 49 all game.
Yeah. What's the problem? Is App State better than Georgia?
Must be.
Must be. Probably would have put up more of a fight.
He probably would. But it was a entertaining game to watch if you didn't watch it, and App State had a chance to tie the game at the end. But anyway, that was a great football game. Just in terms of there were many good football games over the weekend, I thought. Anyway, let's move along to another one. So then there's Florida State beat LSU 24-23 by blocking an extra point attempt that came after LSU went 99 yards with a minute left to score what looked like the tying touchdown.
What looked?
Yeah, it looked. I mean, clearly it was the tying touchdown, right? Except you got to make the extra point, guys.
Got to make the extra point.
You got to make the extra point. After, did you hear the reporter telling and Brian Kelly their exchange after?
No.
So, Brian Kelly got mad at one of the media and I don't think it was on Saturday. I want to say it was on Monday.
Sure.
He got mad at the media, called them late arriving media. Said something about them later. Oh, we fine people for this, and normally we have a jar and you put $10 in when you're late, and blah 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 blah, and we all go to a party at my house at the end of the year, whatever. And he jokingly, half chastising the media for being late, right? The reporter that he was chastising then said, "Well, if you guys would win, we'd be on time." Woo! And I'm
Zing!
like, yeah, I was like, oh, take that.
Someone spiked their coffee this
morning.
I liked
that one. I like that reply.
Jeez Louise! You said that. He's not going to the press conference.
He's not invited to that. He's not invited to that party at the end.
Hell no! His press pass, his badge isn't going to work in the elevator next week. He's not going to know why.
I thought that. I thought that was great. I was like, yeah. I mean, let's be honest.
Jeez, man, take it easy.
Okay, relax, guys. It's week 1. So,
He already lost. He didn't have to lose that battle, too.
yeah. Number 2, Ohio State's defense, and not their vaunted offense, is what led
Yeah,
them
not C.J. Stroud and gang.
No. 21-10 win over number 5 Notre Dame. That was a game that I kind of expected Ohio State to just roll in, but Notre Dame's defense was clearly pretty good. Better than most, anyway.
Either that or Ohio State's offense is bad. We won't really know until about 5 games in.
They still have some, it's week 1. You got a lot to work on.
It's week 1, yeah.
But it was a good win for Ohio State. It's going to look good on Ohio State's resume, even though they still fell to number 3 behind Georgia. It's hard to believe you get a win over number 5 and you don't stay at number 2.
You fall.
Yeah.
It's because beating unranked Oregon is more impressive than beating where did Notre Dame fall to?
Notre Dame is I don't remember where they're at. It's not that far. It's like 12.
I'm gonna guess they fell into the teens. Yeah,
11 or something.
That's worse though, apparently.
Yeah. So also, let's see other good games that happened this weekend. So Pittsburgh, West Virginia. Number 17 Pittsburgh held on to beat West Virginia 38-31 in a game that saw 3 targeting calls, by the way. And this is my soapbox. We talked about targeting on the last show. There were 3 of them in this game. The only one that was upheld as targeting was against West Virginia. The other 2 against Pittsburgh were let go. That's not actually targeting. And one of them for sure was. One of them may not have been. I'm willing to give you that one, but the other one for sure was.
I don't remember that. See, I watched that whole game, and I thought I remembered. Well, I drove home during the middle of it, so I might have missed one of them while I was driving. But I thought I remember both of their targeting calls was like, nah.
Well, one of them. So here's my issue with the targeting problem is if you dive in head first and then tuck your head off as a defender.
I was going to say your head's in front of your body, so in theory diving you're always head first.
As a defender, if you dive in head first and then tuck your head out of the way and kind of roll so that you can't see what the hell you're about to hit, and you hit the guy in the head with your shoulder, right? Or on his shoulder, you just get lucky because you have no idea what you're going to hit.
I know the play you're talking about. He popped him like upper right shoulder.
That is
I didn't think he hit him his head at all because his head snaps back, but
He didn't, but that is absolutely targeting. You are absolutely hurtling your body with no intention. You have no idea where you're going to hit him. Not a clue. So how are you not? I mean, that is the very definition of your reckless behavior.
That's a ridiculous. He has a clue.
He
clearly has a clue.
If you threw your body and turned your head, you have no idea where you're going to hit him. Not a clue.
You have an idea because you aimed, right?
But you didn't know if he ducks his head down?
If I look across the street, huck a football, and then close my eyes before it lands, it's probably still going to land about where it should, unless something else happens.
I don't buy it. I think it was a bogus thing. And that guy that stayed in the game after the targeting call gets a sack like on the next play. And it changed the outcome of the game. And I was like, okay. But it just was curious. Pittsburgh was clearly, I think, the better team. West Virginia made a couple of bad mistakes in the fourth quarter, interception, a pick 6 that cost them dearly. And then they almost pulled it off. They almost pulled off the tie at the end. That pass was close. The guy almost caught it in the end zone or near the end zone. But anyway, it was a good football game to watch. I'm not a big fan of the targeting calls. If it is, it is. Call it and let's go. Let's stop with the replays. Just call it and let's eject people and let's go. I don't like the replay calls. I don't like it's not actually targeting now. Well, you clearly thought it was bad. So it either needs to be a personal foul still. That would be okay with me. Leave it as a personal foul. Don't call it targeting, just a personal foul.
So the definition of targeting, according to the NCAA rulebook, even the new updated one, says taking aim at an opponent for purposes of attacking with forcible contact that goes beyond making a legal tackle or a legal block or playing the ball.
Right.
This is 100% targeting, but then so is any hit at all. It doesn't matter if it's with your head or not. Anytime you try and hit someone, not tackle them, not pop the ball loose.
Yeah.
Like anytime you're just like slinging your body to pop them.
Right.
It's targeting, which is insane.
You're right.
But it goes on to explain that no player shall target and make forcible contact against a opponent with the crown of his helmet. There's another tier to it. So I don't know. It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
I know. I don't like the gray area. That's what I don't like. Get rid of the gray. If you guys can narrow it down and get rid of this gray area and stop having to review it, there's no reason to review it if you called it, right?
Yeah, but
We don't review
if you
holding.
eliminate the gray area, then you don't have deniability anymore. You don't
Right.
have a way to
true.
pawn it off on going, well, it's a judgment call. Which
It's
there's
true.
no gray area, then it's black and white, and then you either screwed up or you didn't.
Right. But on the last play of the game, if you call holding on the offense and they threw a touchdown pass and you call holding, right? There's no review of that.
I think that all penalties should be reviewed. This doesn't have to be on the spot, right? Like they could review it up in a booth or something like that, and then they can just signal down saying, yeah, it looks good. Like I think they should all be subject to review, every single one of them, because so many of them are wrong. So many of the ones that aren't reviewable are wrong. Hands to the face is not reviewable. And that's a crazy one that I've seen a bunch of times. The Georgia got called for a horse collar tackle that was 100% not a horse collar tackle.
Yeah.
And that's not reviewable. And but see, that's the problem, is there are so many that aren't. It's only these few things that result in players getting ejected from the game are reviewable. And so if that player committed a second horse collar, which would have resulted in him being ejected for a second personal foul, they would have reviewed it then, but you wouldn't review the first one. It doesn't make any sense. Review every single penalty up in a booth somewhere. I think the ones we might be able to pass on are false start. Maybe a delay of game. We could pass on reviewing those. But pretty much anything that involves player-on-player contact should probably be reviewed in one way or another. It just needs to happen fast. You need to do it so we can keep it moving.
You can't, though. That's the problem.
The problem is, you
have to slow down you have to go to a slow-mo replay first of all, and that's going to take a few seconds just to run the replay.
And with football, more than any other sport, I agree. I think that slow-mo replay is an issue because it doesn't. It's like you're faulting somebody. It's like the Devin Allen thing. Devin Allen had a false start at the Worlds thing, right?
Yeah.
He just reacted as fast as he could. That's all he knows.
That one,
right? And you take it to a T in super slow-mo, and you can find this very, very precise thing. And in that moment, is it really indicative of the move or the scenario or whatever? No, not really.
And that one bothers me. That one bothers me because you're telling me I reacted too quickly.
Too quickly.
I didn't jump anything.
They're saying you're not human.
I didn't go first. I didn't go early.
Yeah.
I reacted too quickly.
He did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But did it too fast.
You did nothing wrong. What you did was too fast.
Yeah, and they didn't like that. That was too much. He was about to smoke them.
Because humans haven't evolved and they're not getting faster. Okay.
I guess.
I guess that's the rule. Anyway.
But yeah, so you need to be able to review it. You need to be able to review it fast. And
as long as it was quick.
Needs to be able to confirm quick. Yeah. I don't think most of these should come back to the field because most of them are pretty open and shut.
Yeah.
Problem is, if you got one left tackle who commits a hole, but he commits, and then when you're reviewing, I think they also need to be able to review plays and throw penalties on that weren't called. If you're looking at it, look at everything.
Right. If you're going to look at it, anything's game now, fair game, right?
Yeah, send it up to the booth. Now we're going to look at the lineman. We're going to see was he downfield early.
Then you're calling out the officials at that point, right? You're saying,
again, I'm a big fan of accountability for officials.
I agree. I agree with you, but I at that point they don't want to give the appearance of our officials are shit because every time we review something, there's a new penalty.
That's why we love gray areas.
Which is why they love gray areas.
That's why we love gray areas and only reviewing a few certain things.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. So anyway, Pittsburgh won.
That game was awesome, though.
It was a good game to watch. It really was.
It might have been that night was Purdue, Penn State, and Pittsburgh, West Virginia, and those two games might have been my favorite games to watch of the weekend.
And so Penn State beat Purdue 35-31 on a 10-yard touchdown pass with less than a minute left. That was also, like you said, it was a very good game to watch, and you were flipping back and forth between games like I was, trying to catch some of all of it. So also, let's see, Florida beat number 7 Utah in the Swamp 29-26 as Utah's last drive ended in an interception in the end zone.
I hated that play call. I hated it so much.
But so and what bothers me is, and we're going to look at the AP poll in a minute, is that Florida goes from unranked to 12th. Explain that one to me. And then Utah falls, right? So you beat a team that was teens, and you're now all of a sudden the 12th best team in the country after one game that you won at home.
Where did Utah fall to?
I you know what? I don't have. Let me look. I can actually tell you because I have it over here. Utah is now 13th, right behind Florida at 12th.
So they're basically saying that game was a wash.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Utah fell
You
six
know, I'm
six
actually
places.
not. I'm not too mad about where Utah fell to,
No,
but where Florida got
you
to is.
shouldn't.
I mean, unless they're saying Florida was like right there at
What
25, and no one else's win in the process was that impressive. Because yeah,
and what you're saying is Florida's now a better team than Utah. Is that true, or did they just beat them?
for one day it was, or for at least an evening it was.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't always say that the team that wins the game is the better team. You can't always say
Right.
that, and that's part of what we're seeing here. I think. I don't know because maybe Utah will just be collapse this year. I don't know,
Yeah.
but we're gonna find out more. I guess we'll
But I
know
mean,
more.
on the flip side, Pittsburgh went out and beat West Virginia, right?
Yeah,
And they didn't move at all.
Pittsburgh didn't move at all.
But USC beat Rice
Yeah, and they
and
moved up
moved four
four.
spots.
Yeah, they moved up
Like,
four.
what the heck?
There were some movers in these polls, and I don't. Michigan moved up four with a win over Colorado State.
It's all
Really?
posturizing for
Oh, sure.
for
They're
later
setting them
season
up.
ranks. Yeah.
They're setting them up for things, and I get it.
Yeah.
It's just
North Carolina State won and dropped 5 spots.
yeah, but it was 21-20 over Eastern Carolina. It was a close game, but it's still
Yeah, but
I
you
know.
dropped 5 spots.
You
like,
can't
on a-
win
on
and
a-
drop
on a
five
dub.
spots. And five.
Yeah.
I mean, you fell behind a team, Pittsburgh, that beat an unranked team in West Virginia.
Yeah.
I mean,
It just
Okay.
there was some there.
It's
I've
weird.
had more question marks in this week's AP poll than I have in any of the other ones.
yeah, it's okay, and I agree. But let's let's get some more scores here. Tennessee opened the season with a 59-10 crushing of Ball State. That was an easy game, and now they're in the rankings.
They played 5 quarterbacks in that game.
I mean, if you can.
I mean, why not? Well,
Get the experience.
you're going to play your 2 or 3 regular guys, and then
Yeah.
you got a couple guys out there that can play in up to 3 games before they redshirt.
Yeah.
Might as well throw them in there.
I mean, more power to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Mario Cristobal's new team, the number 16 Miami Hurricanes, destroyed Bethune-Cookman, but that's an FCS school, and you should. But it was 70-13.
They let them score 13.
They let them score 13. That's what I said.
They're going to be talking about that
That's
on Monday.
ridiculous. Yeah, they're going to be lectured hard. They were lectured hard on Monday.
Yeah.
Scott Frost. No, this is the wrong picture. I missed a picture apparently. Nope, this is number 19 Arkansas, with their win over number 23 Cincinnati, and that enabled Arkansas to move up 3 spaces. Even though I didn't think Cincinnati should have been rated that high because
Yeah.
Whatever, they were last year, so I guess they get credit this year. Is that how it works? I don't know.
Yeah.
So Arkansas the SEC got a lot of credit. Now in their defense, they were 13-0
Yeah. Big weekend.
this weekend.
Big
So,
weekend.
I can't argue too much, but a little with the placing. I mean,
The issue isn't that people necessarily rose or fell. Like overall, it's just kind of like there were a couple really questionable ones in
Right.
there where you jump somebody who maybe you didn't need to jump.
right.
So-
Did Arkansas need to jump NC State with a win over
Yeah,
Cincinnati? It is
exactly.
a ranked team. You're right.
Did
but
Georgia need to jump Ohio State?
I personally think
Yeah.
that ranked teams and the preseason poll, if you win week 1 over a ranked team in the preseason poll, that means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I mean, because we don't know if those teams are going to be ranked at the end.
Right.
There shouldn't be a poll until later in the season, and then we'll figure out who you've actually beat that is still in the poll. But
Right.
that's what you should get credit. Anyway, I don't know.
Well, Oregon's sitting there at 26 with 131 votes.
26.
They're just outside,
And they
of
won't get
the-
any
of
credit
the-
for beating Eastern Washington, but that's
They'll get enough to get in because somebody else will lose.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think.
well,
Somebody
only
in the next 5.
only if some of those teams. Those
Well,
teams are-
Tennessee and Pitt play this weekend,
it's true. It's
and
true.
those
One
are
of
both teams that are towards the
but-
back of the pack. So one of them will fall out.
But if Tennessee beats Pittsburgh, it'll be
Yeah.
hard for Oregon to pass Pittsburgh. Just FYI, but we'll see. Anyway, also this weekend, Scott Frost got a win, huh?
Hey.
Yeah. So Nebraska beat FCS North Dakota 38-17 in Lincoln. However, let's be honest, it was 24-17 Nebraska going into the fourth quarter. So
It's not resounding, but
two
it's still,
late
yeah.
touchdowns gave them the 21-point win, but it was not exactly a crushing win over an FCS opponent at home.
Right.
It wasn't 70-13 over Bethune-Cookman. So let's put it in perspective. Nebraska has struggles; they've got issues, and I would be surprised if Scott Frost lasts half the season.
That's fair.
6 games maybe. If they start losing Big Ten games, no, he's going to be gone. But anyway, he's got a championship ring from UCF. So
Hey, there you go.
all right. Michigan bombed Colorado State 51-7. We don't even really need to talk about that, but
They should have.
it's a big win.
Yeah.
How about Old Dominion? Beat Virginia Tech 2017 for the second time in as many tries. Back in 2018, they beat number 13 Virginia Tech 49-35. Both games at Virginia Tech.
Both
So,
Old Dominion's only beaten only beaten a ranked team, or what? They've only beaten an FBS team on the road or something like that twice.
Right.
In their history. Both times it was Virginia
Tech.
Yeah.
So I'd stop scheduling them if I was you, Virginia Tech.
Stop scheduling them. What are you doing?
You're hurting yourself, man. And in what was perhaps the most exciting game that nobody saw, Florida International beat Bryant. 38.
No one saw that.
38-37 on a 2-point conversion in overtime. Bryant was predicted, by the way, to finish 5th out of 6 teams in the Big South Conference. That's an FCS conference. So, big win for FIU in overtime. I don't know. I would have loved to have seen the game. I couldn't see. It's not on any channels because nobody's watching that. So, anyway, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's kind of neat.
It is. So that brings us to the latest. This is not working. Things are got to work. Things got to work better today. So that brings us to the latest AP poll, which is right here. This is and I didn't change it. This is not the right one. This is the right one, except I didn't change the top where it says preseason. It's my fault. Should say week 2.
Gotcha.
So there you go. But anyway, so Alabama remained number 1 with their resounding win. Georgia moved up ahead of Ohio State. Yeah, we see their movement on the right. Utah falls 6 places. USC moves up 4 places with a win over Rice. I don't know how they leapfrog Oklahoma State, but they did. Arkansas moved up 3 places. NC State with their win fell 5 places. Yeah, BYU moved up 4 places. BYU is an interesting team. I would be scared if I was going to play BYU. That looks like a really good football team still. Every year they seem to be pretty good. I don't know. Anything on here super surprising other than where they're ranked? Is there a team? I mean, all these teams are pretty much ranked near the rankings or in the rankings already. And so now we have Tennessee, Ole Miss, Kentucky, Arkansas, Florida, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Alabama. So we have 8 SEC teams in the ranking.
Well, there's one thing that I found interesting is that in week 1, the Texas Longhorns were ranked 17th in the coaches poll.
Yeah.
And they were not in the AP rankings.
Right.
And in week 2, after beating the crap out of whoever they beat the crap out of, some no-name team, they are still not in the AP rankings, and they fell in the coaches poll 4 spots to 22.
Do you think it's just because they know they're playing Alabama?
But that's counterintuitive to the argument that the SEC likes to inflate and the media likes to inflate SEC football games. That's counterintuitive to that point. Like, for whatever reason, Texas, and I have been humiliating Texas for years.
They're not back.
For whatever reason, Texas is being extremely disrespected after their first game. And I can't think of why.
And maybe they can use that to get within 30 points of Alabama.
Yeah. Other than that, though, no, there wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of surprising things in week 2 of the poll. There were a lot of things that I wasn't a fan of. I wasn't a fan of NC State dropping back. I was not. Notre Dame only fell to 8. I thought that was a little light. You know, Florida jumping from not ranked and all the way in. So, but, there were some things that made sense. Tennessee jumped to 24. That's fair enough. You beat a team that you should have beat. So, that's good on you, but we're not going to reward you too much. BYU moved up a couple spots for a good game. So there were some good things. There was more good than bad. Michigan moving up 4 spots was a little much.
Oregon, and let's be honest, Oregon lost to the number 3 team in the country. Yeah, they lost bad, but they fell 15 places.
15 places.
15 places.
I saw a thing the other day that it was the largest drop from a preseason spot in AP history.
That's 15 places. Really? Okay. And if Oregon goes 11-1, where will they be ranked? Well, they have to start at 26 now. So that's weird.
I think that if they drub Eastern Washington, like really beat the crap out of them, they're probably going to be ranked 23rd, 22nd, 21. Depends on what other people do. Yeah. And then they'll play BYU, who in theory will keep going up.
Right.
I mean, they
so
fell,
but
then they'll get a ranked opponent.
Right.
And if they beat them, you could be looking at an Oregon team that is now high teens, mid teens.
And Oregon,
And then it's pretty clear path just to keep winning. Beat Stanford on the road,
right.
at home, beat Washington, things like that. Yeah, it's pretty clear after that.
And Oregon doesn't. I don't think they don't play USC this year.
Don't play USC or Arizona State.
Right. But you got Utah.
Got Utah. Last 3 games are Washington, Utah, and Oregon State. So that could be tough.
That's gonna be a rough stretch, but anyway, the poll's interesting. I don't put much stock in polls until week 8 because you don't really know anything. I mean, let's be honest.
The only fear is whether or not your players are putting stock in it, whether or not that's in their head.
It's true. And they're going to see it, and you can't keep them from the media. That's going to happen.
No. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of coaches who use it as motivation. I know that when PSU they weren't great, but we were getting a ranking at one point, and every week Barney would put up the ranking and say, look how they're disrespecting us, and then we go out and lose.
Well, there's a reason why.
Yeah, they're disrespecting you for a good reason there.
So I put up also. Let's talk about this. We did it last week. The 10 best games of week 1. Some of those were week 0, by the way. And explain week 0 to me. Why is that not week 1?
It's just that it's full of games that very rarely have any sort of national implication.
It's just
not always 0, but for the most part, very rarely have any sort of implication. It's allowing your Louisiana Lafayette's and Eastern Carolinas to get out there and get a game on national television without competing with ratings. Yeah, your Old Dominions.
Yeah.
So get it.
Okay. So
I understand it. Is the way
this is not necessarily the 10 best games, but there's 11 of them by the way, because I threw in a couple extra. These are, and not in any particular order, by the way. These are not like the number 1 is the number 1. I think other games are going to be better. I think the Baylor BYU game is going to be better than the Alabama Texas game. App State Texas A&M. Who's not looking forward to that after App State dropped 61 on North Carolina?
Right.
At Oregon State, can they win another game against an opponent? Fresno State in that same vein as Boise State.
If they win the way against Fresno State, the way that they beat Boise State, they'll be ranked in the top 25.
Oh, sure.
Like they'll be ranked 23rd, 24th, maybe 22nd. Come next week, easy.
And the Pac-12 again has a chance to make statements. Washington State plays at Wisconsin. Arizona State plays at Oklahoma State, and Mississippi State plays at Arizona. Those are big,
couple good games.
Those are good games to watch. I think those are going to be good. USC Stanford only because it's the Pac-12 opener for both. And then you got the ranked teams in the SEC. Kentucky at Florida. We're going to find out Kentucky, who has been ranked in the preseason and the week 2 poll, and Florida, who wasn't.
Yeah.
So we'll know more about Florida quickly. But anyway, these are going to be good football games to watch. I think if you catch any of these, you're doing all right.
Yeah, that Tennessee Pittsburgh game. I mean, for an obvious reason, I like Tennessee, but that Tennessee Pittsburgh game looks like you felt last week watching Tennessee that they have an offensive thing kind of figured out,
right?
Like how fast they want to run, how fast they want to go. Pittsburgh looked very resilient. So I think if Tennessee beats Pittsburgh big.
Right.
Tennessee's going to be sitting somewhere around, 16, 17 next week.
The running game for Pittsburgh looked really good. I don't
looked
know.
really good. Yeah.
You got to stop that and make them throw it. But yeah, that's definitely going to have a big impact on the, poll as we go through the season. That's a big game for both teams. I like it. I think it's going to be good football. We're on the verge of conference games. I mean, all the conferences are going to open up next week or the week after. There's going to be a lot of duds next week as well. So,
very, very true.
Yeah. Weeks 2 and 3. Week 1 usually has that statement, that opener game, and then weeks 2 and 3 are usually kind of bleh. So, but we'll see.
But this week has some good ones. I'm actually pretty impressed with. I feel like in the past, there's a couple good games in week 1, a couple good games in week 2, but the majority of the first couple weeks, it's like 2-3 games, and the rest of them are terrible. Week 1 was pretty good. There was about 8 great matchups in there. Week 2 has about another 8 great matchups.
Yeah, there's some good
ones.
So
it feels good this year. I feel like the first 2 weeks are good, which means week 3 is going to be so bad.
It might be. It might be terrible. We don't know.
I think looking forward, that's going to be terrible.
Let's talk about one more thing. So playoff expansion seems to be just around the corner for college football. The CFP Board of Managers voting
Yeah.
unanimously to expand the format to 12 teams. Here's my question to you. Do you think that expanding it to 12 teams is going to give us different champions? Or will we get the same champions, just more football games? Meaning,
First of all, I
Yeah.
told you so.
well, we knew it was
last
coming.
time we talked about college football expansion, I said it was going to be they were going to make the decision within the next 3 years. And you were like, "What do you think it'd be implemented in the next 3 years?" And I'm like, "Nah,
So-
I'd probably be past that." It's all happening way faster than I thought. So they're
they're
ahead
still-
of me.
They're still talking about 2026 as an implementation after the current contract ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting because I think that no, I don't think it's going to lead to different champions.
Right.
See, I say that, but like in my head, I'm picturing, right now you're looking at the AP poll and you're thinking about these rankings and you're like, okay, so week 1 or game 1, Alabama versus Florida, 1 versus 12, right? Assuming they do it that way, assuming they don't give buys.
Yeah.
Right. Assuming they don't give buys. Alabama versus Florida. I think Alabama wins. UGA versus OK State. I think UGA wins. Ohio State versus USC. Ooh. And like you start doing that, the closer it gets to the middle, and you start going, man. And then when you start, looking, a part of the bracket over, and you start going, okay, Oklahoma, Alabama, and then the next week Alabama has to play Michigan, and you're like, crap, man.
You got to do it every week but the way that's going to happen.
It'll be the hardest competition that Alabama will has ever had to consistently play for 3. Wait, it would be 3 weeks or 4 weeks. 12 teams would be 3.
So you're going to add. So the way they've got it formatted, the way I understand it, is that the top 4 conference champions, top 4 ranked conference champions, right, are going to get a bye.
Of course they are.
But they're going to
same champions.
But they're going to take the top 6 conference champions, right? Top 6 ranked conference champions. So the other 2 are still going to have to play, but they're going to be ranked. They're going to be number 5 and 6. And so those teams 5 through 12 will play. You'll have 4 winners, and those 4 winners will play the 4 with the bye. So what you're going to in effect get, the top 4 teams, top 4 seeded teams are going to play 1 extra football game that they wouldn't have played before. So if you finish 5 through 12, you would be in the college football playoff. You'd actually have to play 2 extras. You'd have to play like 4 games to win the national championship.
So it's going to be 3 games. You have to play 3 games to get through.
3 games.
In theory.
Right, 3 games to get through.
Yeah,
right.
3 games if you're in the top 4, 4 games if you're 5 through 12.
Well, wait, now hold on. So if you win the 5 through 12 matchup, then you become one of the final 8. And then if you win that matchup, you're one of the final 4. And if you win that matchup, you're one of the final 2.
So 4 games. 4 games.
4 games. Yeah.
So if you're 5 through 12, it'll cost you 4 games to get there. If you're 1 through 4, it's going to cost you 3 games.
3 games, right?
Man, my heart tells me that's better. That's better TV. 2, that's better competition overall. You're going to see better matchups against teams you might not normally get.
It's true.
You might never, and I just don't know how they're going to do it with travel and stuff like that.
So my problem is the 6 at-large bids that they're going to have. So you're going to have the 6 conference champions. Okay, well, that's Power 5, right? And then 1.
Right, in theory. Yeah.
And then plus 1, that group of
Power 5 plus 1, yeah.
Yeah, which is great. Except
and then 4 teams from the SEC.
And then that's the problem is the other 6 teams are going to be 4 SEC teams and then 2 teams from wherever.
The rankings will matter more than ever.
Exactly, and that's what I have a problem with. Those rankings are terrible.
They're really bad.
They're not based on any real fact. They're based on they beat number 11 Oregon first week of the season. Yeah, but Oregon finished 6-6. That's not a win that you can hang your hat on.
Oh, don't say that.
I'm just saying.
I know. I just
as an
don't
example.
Like to hear it. I know.
Not that that's going to happen.
It just doesn't feel good.
Right. But right now, if you took that formula, and assuming Alabama wins the conference because they're ranked number 1, well, Georgia is now an at-large team.
Right.
Okay, that's the number 2 team in the country. They're going to be an at-large team. And then, you're going to have Michigan. And then you're going to have Clemson.
Based on the way it is right now, you'd get 1, 2, 3, 4 SEC teams in.
Right.
Yeah. So Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and A&M.
But your 4 buys are going to be Alabama right now, Michigan, Clemson, And
Clemson.
USC?
USC, assuming they end there. And then your
Right.
group of 5.
And then your group of 5 team, or your next 2 teams, right? Your next 2 winners.
Your next,
well, no,
yeah,
because we'd have the Big 12. I forgot the Big 12. Oklahoma's ahead of USC, right?
Oklahoma, yeah.
Or Baylor. One of those 2. But yeah,
Oklahoma's ahead of USC,
okay,
yeah.
So Oklahoma and then USC. And so USC would not get a bye. USC would be in number 5.
It'd be number 5 on that list, yeah.
And then you'd have the group of 5 team in there, which is going to be whoever it is, the next highest ranked team.
5 and 6 would be USC and Georgia.
Well, no,
USC and then whoever the other group of 5 team was. And number 7 would be Georgia.
Right. So
number 7 in the seeding would be Georgia.
So,
but then you're gonna go 7 Georgia, 8 Michigan, 9 Notre Dame, assuming they don't fall in that 5 rankings, 10 Baylor, 11 OK State, and 12 Florida State.
Yeah.
But that still leads to some great looking matchups.
It's going to be some good. Yeah, it's going to be some good football. And that's all going to change.
I just don't know how they're going to do. Are they going to replace bowl games? Are they going to create a new whole new thing? Is it going to be home field advantage?
No,
on
it
top
should
of
be.
The buys?
Well, see, that's the other thing.
I think it should.
If you get, I think that the first group of games you should get home field advantage, but the next group should be bowl games. Absolutely, that's what you've been doing the college football playoff already. It should be neutral site.
I disagree. The first 2 rounds will be neutral. Will be home field advantage. Yeah. So Alabama will get a bye and home field. Then once you move into the Final 4 and on, then you can go back to your bowl games or whatever. But yeah, so basically they're your first 5 through 12 games, and then your second group that features 1 through 4, and the winners of the 5 through 12 games will still be outside. But then you could get games where you get Florida traveling to Wisconsin. You could get Florida traveling to Baylor. They'll never do that. They never want to do that.
Right.
That's really cool. They're going to create a bunch of bowl games.
The bigger you expand it, the more chances you have of rematches from earlier in the year.
Earlier in the year, yeah.
Florida
I do
State.
think 12 is a good start to see if it's going to yield. If Alabama playing not just a standard crap SEC team from the West,
right?
You're not playing in Arkansas or whatever. If Alabama playing a good team 3 weeks in a row changes something,
right.
Or if they just continue to roll and dominate. So in theory they will, but
Yeah, 12 is okay with me. I don't.
16, I think, is the prime spot.
The current model doesn't give anyone a bye. So why did you all of a sudden decide that those teams need a bye? I don't like that. Either go to 16
because they're about to play harder games,
and I don't like it. Don't give them the first round bye, right? You give them the home field advantage, and that's what you win for being number 1, 2, 3, 4. And so expand it to 16 or don't. That's up to you guys, but I don't like the bye thing. I think that's a bad situation. You're giving one team rest when another team doesn't get rest, and I don't think that's fair. Oh, we earned it. Did you? Or were you just ranked higher than them all year long? Alabama's not going to fall anywhere, you know what I mean, unless they really tank a game to somebody. So Alabama, you don't have a chance to pass Alabama if you're Oklahoma. You win all your games at Oklahoma, unless you win them all 70-0. You're not passing Alabama. So you never have a chance to be ranked ahead of them and get a home field or a bye ahead of them. That's what I'm saying.
It looks like they came out. It looks like they came out and announced that the first round would be on the teams 5 through 8 will host teams 9 through 12.
They should.
So that's it. But they haven't announced what they're going to do with the next set of them, which is leading people to believe that those are going to be they're going to farm them out to bowls.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And
that's that makes them more money.
Yeah, it makes them more money. Yeah, you just condense them into one spot. But I think they should. I think in theory, you keep the system now with your Final 4 all being bowl games. You make first and second rounds. Yeah, you make those.
I would just, if it was me, I would go to 16. Stop with 12.
So
make it even.
So you have a Sweet 16. You have an Elite 8. What do you call the 12?
I don't know. Nothing rhymes. Nothing rhymes with 12, so that's probably part of the problem. The tremendous 12, the
tremendous 12,
terrific 12. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't like 12.
Tremendous 12.
When you look, I'm a numbers. I'm a math guy, right? I'm a numbers guy, and I see 12 and I immediately go, that's someone's got to buy, and that's not fair. That's not okay to do because
Yeah.
you can't do that. I mean, you can do that in the NFL, you can do that in whatever other league, that's fine. But we haven't been doing that in college football. Why are we doing it now? Don't do that. Just make it 16. There are no buys. Your reward is at number 1, you're playing at home against the 16th team. You're not playing, you know what I
Right.
mean? That's your reward. And yeah, you earned that, but you don't need to get a bye and get a rest week. I don't like that, and probably it's going to hurt some teams. Probably not playing.
Yeah, there are teams that are going to suffer from it, but
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that Nick Saban, who's had no problem ever getting his team ready for week 1, Nick Saban, who's had no problem ever getting his team ready for a playoff game, I can't imagine that's going to cause any more of a complication with them. And I'll tell you what I think this is going to do. This is going to produce better NFL players with more sustain through the month of December and into January.
Well, if you make the playoffs, so if you played, let's assume that you're somebody like the number 5 or 6 seed, right? One of those conference champions.
Right.
And you played your 12 games and played in a conference championship game and won. So that's
Right.
13. And then you still have to win 4. That's 17 football games. Well, that's what the NFL plays. If you're going to make it all the way,
yeah,
you got to play 17.
You're at least going to be competent enough to play a regular season's
Right.
worth of NFL football.
Which I'm all for.
Or you won't be, and
Or
you won't have the health for it.
That's right.
And the NFL teams will have a clearer picture of that.
Yeah.
I just I know it's not enough. I know it doesn't make. I know not everything about it makes sense. Nothing about it makes sense now. It didn't make sense when it was the BCS either.
It was worse.
But at least you're giving more teams an opportunity. And yeah, there might be 4 SEC teams in it, 5 SEC teams in it, but there's going to be a few teams that never had a shot at it because they were always in 7th or 8th or 9th, and now they will.
Right.
It's a shot, not much of one, but it's a shot.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm on board. I'm on board with the expansion. Let's get to 16 though. Let's make that move. FCS has been doing it for years. Let's go.
Right.
16 teams, no bye weeks.
So, yeah, do you think? I want you to respond to one thing. This is different. So this is NFL. We're going to switch gears real quick. Just one last thing. Baker Mayfield has said that he's not looking at Sunday's opener against Cleveland as a revenge game.
Wait. He said that a while ago.
Right. So, but he also said that,
recently.
He also said anytime you're playing guys it makes it more interesting, more fun. You get to smack talk with your buddies that you've been with for a little bit. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. So that all sounds like revenge. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, I would if I was him.
I thought you were going to quote the other one, which is where he said, "I'm going to beat the F out of him."
No. I mean, but I feel like you can say these things, and that's all. It's all fine and dandy. But I think you want to win.
Yes.
I mean, you want to beat them pretty badly. So
you want to humiliate them.
Yeah.
You want them to go, crap, we spent $150 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
And this guy just walked in here,
right?
Who we cut, who we traded, and he just handled us with what is probably a lesser team.
Maybe.
Because I think the Browns are a better team top to bottom.
Right.
Than the Panthers, which is the craziest thing to say. I wouldn't have said that like 4 years ago.
I know. I think it's interesting. I this whole week 1 we've got we've got Russell and we've got Mayfield and we've got I think that
Von Miller plays for the Bills and he's playing the Rams.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, but he only plays for the Rams for
it's not a revenge thing either, but
really.
It's super. I just think it's cool,
Right.
You got a lot of guys who swap places who are fighting back their old teams now.
It's going to be an interesting thing. And have you seen the T-shirts that they were selling outside of Cleveland?
No.
And I'm not going to put one up here, but I'm going to say what it says because this is not for kids anyway. So this guy was selling T-shirts outside one of the preseason games, and he was selling shirts that said, "Bitch, give me a massage." And I know, right? Don't make fun of that, and I get it, but he was probably making a crap ton of money from those.
If you are the Browns, how do you allow this man to do this on your
and
premises?
He wasn't on their property or anything. He was just outside the stadium. He was just on. I mean, you can do that if you not on
If
their
you are
property.
the Browns, how do you allow this to happen in the city without contacting one of your buddies in the police force
Right.
and having this guy arrested for selling illegal merchandise or some crap? Like, just figure something out.
It's not even licensed. I mean, it's not licensed or anything. It's just, you can say that, right? And
I mean, I'm assuming it's a brown or an orange shirt
with brown letters.
with black or brown lettering.
Yeah.
Hey, it's
Well, he had
talking about a
options.
situation that's topical.
He had options. I mean, there's gray. And there was
Do you think
blue.
he sells it in any color? Like you can get it in whatever your team's color is.
Houston Texans blue.
He sells it in just the two colors.
And I'm not trying to make fun of any of that. I make fun of the T-shirt because it's just, I mean, people will try and make money off of anything.
People are industrious, man.
I just, it amazes me. It's wrong on every level. It's just funny. Because
it's pretty uncomfortable that he would do that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's a trivia question.
Trivia question.
Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. So the winery at the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive.
Really?
Open. So I don't know what I'm doing. 7 days. Hey, I'm just surprised our connection stayed up. Right?
Hey, we're back.
What did
What's
it really just cut out? No?
It cut out, yeah, just now.
Oh, okay. And I was just saying,
literally just now it cut off. Yeah.
And I was just saying I'm surprised it stayed up. When you said really, I was like, that's surprised it stayed up.
Well, whatever you went to do did this. I literally watched you turn your head and face towards the monitor, and then it started.
I grabbed a piece of paper. That's all I did.
Hey,
I didn't do
touch
anything.
that paper. Put
Nothing
that
electronic.
Don't touch that dial.
It was static. Anyway, winery at the Vineyard.
Paper statics with the problem.
The winery at the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive, open 7 days a week from 12 to 6 for indoor and patio dining. The downtown tasting room is open 12 to 6 Thursday through Sunday. You can call them at 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750. Or email them info@stavenstone.com for more information or to make a reservation. Stave and Stone, winner of the 2021 Best Local Winery in the Best of the Gorge Awards. So the trivia question was, if you remember, who was the last American to win the U.S. Open men's single title? Okay. And I saw your answer. Go ahead.
Is that the right answer? Because I have another one.
What's
if that's wrong, I have another one.
If that's wrong.
If that's wrong, I have one more.
So I'm all out of whack. It was wrong.
Who
was the answer?
I said John McEnroe.
Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Who? No, it's not John McEnroe.
No, that picture that you're showing.
Yeah, that
who that is?
Is who it is.
That's Murray? Roddick?
Nope. Andy Roddick.
Andy Roddick. I was gonna go with Arthur Ashe as my other one.
Oh, good Lord, that was in the 70s.
Yeah, back in the day.
McEnroe won it between then and now, but I mean, Andy Roddick, 2003, was the last American.
Sounds right.
It's been a day. I mean, that's 19 years since an American won the U.S. Open. But that just goes to show you the boom in international tennis, because prior to that, Americans winning the U.S. Open was a common thing. And then, any tournament's kind of that way. The Australian Open, there's a lot of Australian winners before it became boom. The international tennis went boom, and then, an Australian hasn't won the Australian Open in a while either.
Yeah.
So it happens.
It's once those foreign people get a hold of it, they start winning your tournaments.
Damn foreign people.
Damn foreign people.
Everyone's a foreigner to somebody. So
that's right.
Yeah, just remember that. Anyway, Andy Roddick's your answer. 2003.
So close.
I know you were. I mean, not really, but I mean,
I was off by 30 years.
it's all you're off by 30 years. So we are done. That was it. That was the end of this show. We're on YouTube every week. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. You can email us lambsports@gmail.com. We want to thank ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC, CBS Sports, the NFL, NCAA, Formula One, WNBA, MLS, and of course our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. We're going to be back next week, and we're going to talk about all of that football that happened over this week one, and it is going to be glorious. And of course, week two in the NCAA. And we'll give you an update on the polls and everything. And I don't know what else. We'll talk about the WNBA and their finals. MLB heading down the stretch. We're going to have a little bit of update on the Major League Baseball too. All that and more. Obviously, we'll have the trivia question. So tune in next week for episode 96. By the way, this is episode 95, in case you didn't know. Just FYI. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC. I want to thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you all next week.